Hi students, I'm Dr. Bhavana. In this lecture we are going to deal about a topic called as animal kingdom. So in the animal kingdom mainly there are numerous animals which we see around. They are different from their structure, function as well as their forms. So how do you classify numerous organisms? Already we have started in the last class about the animal kingdom. So today we are going to continue what all we have dealt in the last class as well as what are the different phyla which are associated with it. So basically when we started with the class in the last thing, so what are the different forms we see in this world? Numerous animals. Few are unicellular as well as few are multicellular. So in the unicellular organisms only single cell is present. Means unicellular only single cell is present. When it comes to multicellular organisms, there are numerous cells which are associated with multicellular organisms. Numerous cells are associated. That's why they are classified as unicellular as well as multicellular organisms. So basically maximum organisms are multicellular organisms. Only few are unicellular organisms. So when we started with the classification, first we start multicellular, means there are numerous cells that are present. When numerous cells are associated together, they form the tissues. Numerous cells aggregate to one another to form a tissue. Then numerous tissues will aggregate together to form an organ. As well as numerous organs like heart is used for our pulse rate and all, like then respiration, lungs, digestion, stomach, these all will act together to form a system that is called as organ system. Means these all will act together finally to form an organ system. First initially when we start with cells, numerous cells are organized to form tissues. Then numerous tissues are organized to form organs, then numerous organs to form organ system. Like that, based on this, there are numerous organisms that are classified under each subdivision. So this is one classification that is related to that. The first organism which comes only cells are present. Numerous cells are present is nothing but sponges. When it comes to numerous tissues they will aggregate, then it forms coelentrates. For those who have missed the last class, I am revising for you. Then concentrate carefully. Numerous organs, they are functional mostly in a subphylum that is called as Platyhelminthes. Then numerous organ systems, they form all the rest of the phyla except these three phyla. First one is sponges, that is Porifera under phylum Porifera. Then this one is coelentrates, only tissue level of organization. Organ level is only Platyhelminthes, rest all will come under organ system level of classification. That is annelids, arthropods, mollusks, annelids, arthropods, then mollusks. Everything will come under organ system. Sponges, cells, tissues, coelentrates, organs, Platyhelminthes. Then organ system is annelids, arthropods and mollusks. So this main level of classification you should remember clearly. There again, when we are reading under phyla, you will get to know, suppose Euspongia belongs to which level of classification. Then you should answer it is cellular type of organization, means numerous cells are present. When it comes to coelentrates, under which level of classification it belongs to. So it is under tissue level of organization. When it comes to organs as well as organ systems, it is Platyhelminthes under organs, as well as organ system level means rest all the phyla. Remember it in simple way. So this is about the first initial classification. Then next classification which we have done is about notochord. Notochord, what I told you, notochord means nothing but it is a mesodermally derived rod-like structure. Means a rod-like structure that is mesodermally derived is nothing but notochord. If notochord, it is mostly functional during embryonic development. Embryonic development means you see only in childhood this notochord. If notochord is persistent like that even in adult, then we call them as, then we classify them as chordates. Chordates. Numerous organisms will come under chordates. Next we will see about that, like urochordates, cephalochordates, they all are chordates. How do you differentiate between chordates and non-chordates? If you want to differentiate between chordates and non-chordates, then it is called as by a special structure that is mesodermally derived, and it is a rod-like structure that is called as notochord. So if notochord is absent, basically they are called as non-chordates. If they are absent, if they are present, notochord is present, it is called chordates. If it is absent, it is called as non-chordates. Maximum phyla, like from sponges, that is porifera, to all the phyla, majority belongs to non-chordates. Important neat question. Which porifera or some other coelentrates or platyhelminthes belong to which one, that is chordates or non-chordates, means they belong to non-chordates. If they want to belong to chordates, means only euchordates, cephalochordates, that all we will deal, but majority of the phyla, important neat question, they belong to non-chordates. As well as important neat question which they will ask here is whether it is mesodermally derived. Anytime you should answer endodermally derived or ectodermally derived, means you should answer it is mesodermally derived, and it is a rod-like structure that is associated. Next we have seen about segmentation. So basically in the segmentation, the body is divided into externally as well as internally into numerous segments. Like how for earthworm, the body is divided into numerous segments. These segments are nothing but they are called as metameres. Metameres. About how many metameres are present in an earthworm? About 100 to 150 metameres are associated with the earthworm. About 100 to 150. So basically in the segmentation part, when we enter into segmentation part, then the main point you should remember is numerous segments are present in an organism. When numerous segments are present, then it is called as earthworm. Most associated one is earthworm only. It will come under annelids. So the body is divided into numerous segments called as metameres, and they are about 100 to 150 in number. So this is about the segmentation. Next what we have done is about the diploblastic as well as triploblastic animals. When you come to diploblastic as well as triploblastic animals, there are two types that are associated with it. That is diploblastic, triploblastic. Diploblastic means diploblastic as well as triploblastic. Diploblastic animals means what? Diploblastic means one ectoderm as well as endoderm is present. Only two layers are present. Then it is called diploblastic. If three layers are present, that is ectoderm, endoderm as well as mesoderm. See here only ecto as well as endoderm is present. So that's why they are called as diploblastic animals. Outermost layer is called as ectoderm. Innermost layer is called as endoderm. So there is no third layer that is present. What are these ectoderm and endoderm? Ectoderm and endoderm are nothing but they are the germinal layers that are associated, that are present in the embryonic development itself. That is only ectoderm and endoderm. What are the layers that are present means ectoderm as well as endoderm. When it comes to triploblastic animals, then one outer ectoderm is present, then endoderm is present. In between the ectoderm and endoderm, there is third layer that is present, that is called as mesoglia. We call it as mesoglia or mesoderm. If you say mesoglia in NEET, don't get confused regarding that. Mesoglia is nothing but it is related to mesoderm. So that is about the another classification. So till now what 4 classifications we have done? First one we have done about cellular level of organization, then tissue, then organ system. Finally, their examples here are important basically. First when we have dealt about sponges, it is cellular level of organization. Next when we have done about the coelentrates, it is tissue level of organization. Next it comes organ, then organ system. There are 4 different types of organ systems that are associated with it. So here examples are important. Just remember it in an order. Cells, tissues, organs, organ systems. Then you will get it as the options. You will get it as sponges, coelentrates. Remember in an order. Next platyhelminthes. The fourth one is annelids, arthropods. Rest all the phyla will come under there. Next one, second classification what we have seen about notochord. If notochord is present, they are called as chordates. If notochord is absent, they are called as non-chordates. Simple to remember. Next, about segmentation. The body is divided into numerous segments basically. It is divided externally as well as internally. So, numerous metameres. It is divided into numerous metameres. That we have done. Fourth classification is about diploblastic as well as triploblastic animals. If 2 germ layers are present, then ectoderm as well as endoderm, then it is called as diploblastic animals. If third layer is associated with it, that is mesoderm, it is called as triploblastic. Simple, by name only you can get it. Diploblastic means what? Only 2 are present. Triploblastic means 3. 3 layers are present. What are these 3 layers? Ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm. And that also it will come under like mesoglia, like that. These all are nothing but germinal layers which are formed during embryonic development. So this is about the 4th level of classification. Next, 5th level of classification is related to symmetry. Symmetry. When it comes to the third one, that is called as symmetry. In the symmetry, again it is of 3 types basically. One is asymmetrical, second one is radially symmetrical, the third one is bilaterally symmetrical. So, asymmetrical, radially symmetrical, bilaterally symmetrical. So, when it comes to asymmetrical organisms, asymmetrical means their body is not divided into 2 halves. They cannot be divided into 2 halves. Means any structure if you cut in the body, you can't divide it into similar halves. Because right and left half do not resemble the same. That's why they are called as asymmetrical animals. What are the examples of these asymmetrical animals? Again come in an order. Like how first one it is related to sponges. So sponges are asymmetrical animals. Sponges. First classification will come under asymmetrical animals. Next, radially symmetrical animals. Radially symmetrical means what? They can be divided into 2 halves. In any plane they can be divided, not only in single plane. Suppose you take a circle, then you can divide it into how many halves you want, but they will resemble the same. If you divide it in any halves, how many halves you want, 2 parts will resemble the same. So they are called as radially symmetrical animals. What are the examples that are associated with radially symmetrical animals? Are coelentrates. Coelentrates. Next, when it comes to bilaterally symmetrical animals, they can be divided into two halves only in one plane. Suppose they are like this, oval shape is there. They can be divided only into single half in any plane. Then only one plane you can divide and make them symmetrical organisms. But in radially symmetrical, in any plane if you divide, they will be same. But when it comes to bilaterally symmetrical animals, you can't divide them into you can't divide them. Only in single plane you can divide them. So what are the examples that are associated with these bilaterally symmetrical animals? Examples that are associated with these bilaterally symmetrical animals are nothing but annelids, arthropods, platyhelminthes. Whatever the all types will come, those all are under bilaterally symmetrical. Simple in this animal kingdom, the tough topic is the one how you can easily remember is, remember which are less and rest all you put it in the third group. Like suppose asymmetrical animals, only one it is associated with asymmetrical. That is nothing but sponges. Only sponges are associated with asymmetrical organisms. But when it comes to radially symmetrical, all the coelentrates only are associated with these radially symmetrical organisms. When it comes to bilaterally symmetrical, annelids as well as platyhelminthes, whatever the organisms which are present, those all are under bilaterally symmetrical. Important neat question which you should remember is, in these radially symmetrical animals, or which are radially symmetrical animals, means only coelentrates are radially symmetrical. Rest all are bilaterally symmetrical. So like that you should remember. When it comes to, before I have told you diploblastic as well as triploblastic animals also. So basically in these diploblastic animals, only coelentrates are diploblastic. Diploblastic means what? They are present with two layers, that is ectoderm as well as endoderm. Rest all our organisms are bilaterally symmetrical as well as they are triploblastic. So diploblastic, triploblastic, that is bilaterally symmetrical as well as they are triploblastic, annelids and all. Only one phylum coelentrates are radially symmetrical as well as diploblastic. Asymmetrical means only sponges. So like that you should remember the classification. The last classification which we are going to see about is, last classification that is associated with it is, there is a presence of body wall and gut wall. A body cavity is present in between the two. Suppose this is the body wall and this is the gut wall. Body wall means what? The outermost layer that is present is called as body wall. Innermost is gut wall. In between the body wall as well as gut wall, if a body cavity is present, that cavity is called as coelom. Coelom. So what is this coelom? Coelom means what? Body wall as well as gut wall. What is that coelom that is associated, that is present between the body wall as well as gut wall? Coelom means a cavity that is present between the body wall as well as gut wall. And if the coelom is present, they are called as coelomates. If coelom is absent, they are called as acoelomates. So coelom is present, so coelomates. Acoelomates means coelom is absent. What are the examples of these acoelomates? The common examples that are associated with these acoelomates are, the main example is the platyhelminthes. Only one thing you should remember, acoelomates means coelom is absent, nothing but platyhelminthes. When it comes to coelomates, examples are, one is true coelom is present. Their examples are all organisms are coelomates only, maximum. That is annelids, arthropods, everything will come under coelomates. So they are coelomes present. But if coelom is false coelom, that is pseudocoelom. Pseudocoelom. If it is present, means along with the coelom, a mesoderm structure is present. This mesoderm only will appear as coelom. Mesoderm cavity is present. This will only appear as coelom. That's why it is called as false coelom or pseudocoelom. Acoelom means it is platyhelminthes. Pseudocoelom means the examples are Asclepias. Asclepias. Those are Asclepias means nothing but round worms. When it comes to platyhelminthes, they are flat worms. That is Taenia, liver fluke will all come under platyhelminthes. Asclepias means all the hookworm, roundworm, ascaris, they all will come under pseudocoelom. So main difference what is coelom means a body cavity that is present in between the body wall as well as gut wall. When it comes to what are the acoelomates that are associated with it, means nothing but it is platyhelminthes. When if coelomates are absent, that is pseudocoelom is present, they are called as Asclepias. That is roundworm. Examples. Remember, acoelomates, platyhelminthes, pseudocoelomates, it is Asclepias. That is roundworms. So this is about the different classification. I'll make you the classification very easy by giving a flow chart now. Just follow the flow chart and read it so many times so that it will be very helpful for your need. So basically in the chapter which we have seen till now, what we have discussed, mainly the classification of animals, it is divided into cellular as well as tissue level. Under cellular level, till now we have discussed all are asymmetrical animals, as well as it is example is Porifera. Phyla Porifera, that is nothing but sponges. But when it comes to tissue or organ level, they are again divided into the structures which are called as acoelomate, that is triploblastic, as well as diploblastic animals. When it comes to diploblastic animals, there is only ctenophores that are present. But when it comes to triploblastic animals, all the organisms will come under triploblastic only, as I have specified for you. Again under triploblastic, they are divided based on coelom, that is acoelomates, coelomates, pseudocoelomates. So under acoelomates, I just now have told you that is platyhelminthes. Under pseudocoelomates, it is nothing but it is Asclepias. Under coelomates, rest all will come under coelomates. So this is about the brief flow chart which I have given, which makes you very easy regarding this. First one, I told you what are only diploblastic animals. As well as here on diploblastic, again you can divide them into or radially symmetrical. Triploblastic we can say or bilaterally symmetrical. So based on this, like this, you can easily divide. First important point here to remember is normal first animals, they are divided based on cellular level as well as tissue level or organ level. Under cellular level only one, that is asymmetrical it is, and it is sponges. it exhibits cellular level of organization. But when it comes to tissues or organ systems, they are classified based on two types. One is diploblastic or triploblastic. Then we can classify it as radially symmetrical or bilaterally symmetrical. If that is radially symmetrical, means they are nothing but ctenophores. Ctenophores, or we can say it as cnidarians, or we can say it as coelentrates. These all will come under diploblastic or radially symmetrical. Under triploblastic or bilaterally symmetrical, rest all will come. But again they are classified based on presence of coelom or absence of coelom. If coelom is present, they are called as annelids, arthropods, mollusks and all. If coelom is absent, then it is platyhelminthes. If false coelom is present, then it is called as ascleminthus. So this is the classification. If you write down this classification, it will be very easy for you, and write down 2 or 3 times so that this classification becomes very easy because of porifera, sponges and all. Still, next we are going to see about one phylum, that is nothing but sponges. That is, first we are going to start with the phylum that is called as porifera. Porifera. Under porifera, numerous sponges will come. First point you should remember, I am writing it in an order so that you can easily remember. Write down same. So many important NEET questions are asked based on this animal kingdom only. About examples they'll give, or they'll give in detail. Now what I will tell you. First one is marine. That is, they live only in water. Most of the sponges are marine. That is, they live only in water. Next important point you should remember is, they are basically not hermaphrodites. Not hermaphrodites means their sexes are separate. That is, males are different as well as females are different. This will come under sponges. Next important point which you should remember, hermaphrodites. Okay, they are marine. Next, which type of organization they exhibit? Till now we have discussed. They exhibit cellular level of organization. Cellular level. That is, only cells are present and their cells are associated with this type. This is cellular level of organization. As well as they are asymmetrical animals. Asymmetrical. That is, if they get divided, they cannot be divided into 2 equal halves. So they are called as asymmetrical animals. Marine, not hermaphrodite, that is, sexes are separate, as well as cellular level of organization, and they are asymmetrical animals. As well as the most important point which you should remember is development. Development is indirect development. That is, they exhibit a stage that is called as larval stage. For new ones to form, there should be one stage that is associated. That is nothing but larval stage. So, indirect development. Next, internal fertilization. Internal fertilization. As well as digestion is also intracellular. Intracellular digestion. Few organisms will have extracellular, but here in sponges, the main point which you should remember is, first one, you all know sponges are marine. Next, cellular level, asymmetrical, you should remember only one point, that is, they are not hermaphrodites. Next, you should remember, with all I's only it will start. That is I, alphabet I. That is indirect development, internal fertilization as well as intracellular digestion. I am saying you easy how you can remember. That is indirect development, internal fertilization as well as intracellular digestion. 3 I's. So that is done. Next, see, the sponges will be like this. Numerous sponges will be present. When these sponges are present, they will have numerous minute pores because they live in marine, that is they live mostly in water, so they'll have good transportation of water. How this transportation of water takes place? This transportation of water will take place through ostia that is associated with it. Ostia will send, that is numerous pores. Ostia means numerous pores that are present on the body. These will receive water and through outside it is pumped out through osculum. And where are these water stored? These water are stored in a cavity that is present in between them called as spongiocele. These spongiocele in turn they are lined by cainocytes. See here all numerous scientific terms will come into play. So you should remember easily regarding this. No need to get confused. All you know all the points. I told you easy to remember: indirect development, internal fertilization and intracellular digestion. Next when you come, this is the structure. How water transportation, food transportation, how it will take place. For all the food transportation, water transportation and everything, numerous ostia are present. That is numerous minute pores are present here on the body. So these numerous minute pores are called as ostia, as well as these ostia are escaped out through osculum. Ostia as well as osculum. Numerous they are received by ostia, pumped out through osculum. As well as how they are receiving that, what is the body cavity that is present in the sponges. The body cavity that is present in the sponges is nothing but spongiocele that is present in middle. These spongiocele will have numerous choanocytes that are associated with it. Choanocytes. Important terms. Spongiocele is associated with sponges. Choanocytes are associated with this one. So that is about the main phylum that is called as sponges. So basically Euspongia, examples of this are Euspongia, Scyphon, as well as Spongia. Euspongia is nothing but bath sponge. The scientific name is Euspongia and the normal name is bath sponge. Next Scypha, next Spongia. Anything that is related to Scyphon or Spongia, Euspongia, anything will come under phylum Porifera. So this is about the NEET which we have discussed. Important points they'll ask about choanocytes, as well as they will ask about intracellular digestion, indirect development, internal fertilization. Next mostly they'll ask the examples. Euspongia is also called as bath sponge. Spongia is called as freshwater sponge. Then Scyphon. Scyphon is nothing but sponges. So these are the three different types of sponges that are associated. Anything that is related to sponges means you should answer it is phylum Porifera. So this is about the one phylum which we have discussed. In the next session we will discuss about rest of the phyla that are associated with the animal kingdom.